Good evening and welcome to Wines of Germany. It's the 31 Days of German Wine. It's my favorite month of the year. For years, it was the 31 Days of German Riesling, but then,
Thankfully, we've got away from that.
Well, to be fair,
I love Riesling. Everyone loves Riesling.
It actually goes all the way
Not
back.
everyone loves Riesling, but...
It used to be just the 31 days of Riesling. Then it became the 31 Days of German Riesling, which kind of pigeonholed it a little bit. And now it has become the 31 Days of German Wine.
Oh no, people are including other countries now. Our month. I mean, it's strange. Like there are things we have arguments about what should be a day and what should be more than a day, a week, or a month. Like German Riesling seemed awfully specific to be a whole month.
So all year round, all day, every day. German Riesling.
But Guten Abend, indeed, and we have. Looking forward to hearing Jamie say, well, you'll get to...
Nobody needs to know. The only answer you need to say is yes, chef, and we will go from there.
I hope everyone can hear the sound all right and everything. Just shout, please do let us know. Don't just sit there seething if you can't hear us or one of us is too loud. I suspect I'm actually probably too quiet.
Generally, it's too loud, but there we go.
Is that
but anyway,
I'm talking at all?
Exactly.
Exactly.
So we are going to have...
okay. We haven't actually swapped sides.
We were going to.
We were thinking about it, but there we go. Thank you. There we are.
Magic. We got magic going on here. Yes. Yeah, we like things to be the same, don't we? So we're back to where we were.
But for those who haven't joined us before, a huge welcome to you. It is wonderful to see some new people, new faces, people clearly excited about German wine, which is great to see. And for those of you who've seen us before, welcome back. And you've noticed that we are not necessarily on the right side. So we're creatures of habits. But there's some good things on the cards for us.
There absolutely is. And I think Germany is a brilliant thing. But I think before I yabber on about Germany, let's get wine number one into the glass, because that's what we're all here for. We're here to drink some wine and not get her too over the top. So Germany, brilliant place. And I think Riesling is obviously... I want to say the star, but I'm not allowed to say the star. I'm going to say what it's probably best known for. And, if I had £1 for every time I'm going to go, no, Riesling because it's sweet, I'd be like, come on. But there are so many different styles. And I was in Germany, 2023 it must have been, on a trip going around. Once again, you go places with expectations that Germany is cool climate growing. Mm-hmm. It was 32 degrees every day I was there.
Stupidly hot.
So it's not cool climate. Is not always cool climate, which can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing, depending where in the world you've been. But this has allowed Germany to go from just having these steely, dry mineral Rieslings to actually growing other bits and pieces. So, and the first wine we've got, and we'll talk about this a little bit because Alex has a video about all things Germany.
Hopefully.
But what we'll do is I'll talk about this a little bit. Alex will get the Slido up, and then we can... Go for it.
I don't want to click the close button on that button there, so
don't click that.
Well, I won't do, but yes, normal order is restored. Thanks, Dan. You're quite right. It is right to be the right way around. We have our places. It's a bit like a couple. Can you imagine them swapping sides on a bed? Like that doesn't happen, does it? No.
We've got deep in, and we're not talking about any wine yet.
Okay.
So we're in Baden, and it's the most southern and the warmest wine growing region in Germany. So what we have here is we have a Pinot Gris, which same grape as Pinot Grigio that you find in Italy. But this just showcases where you can have a little bit of warmth, not hot. So you get this beautiful ripeness of the grape, and you get this lovely, lovely, lovely acidity in there, this beautiful freshness, this beautiful crispness. And this is made by Carl Jonas. So they've actually got two wineries. They've got one in the UK and one in New Zealand, and they make Pinot Gris in both. And I had a little bit of a shock when the delivery turned up, because I picked up the case and it had New Zealand written on the side of it. I then turned the box round and it's got German on the other side. So they're obviously saving money by bulk buying their boxes and shipping them to wherever they need to go. But yeah, I just, Pinot Gris, I'm just going to dive in and have a little taste of it. It's got this lovely richness. It's lovely, almost like oiliness to it. Pinot Grigio is that kind of... It comes with the territory of being light nothingness, just lemon, lime, fresh, and that's all there is to it. All good?
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to share the Slido code.
Oh,
to
Slido in the
those.
chat.
We do have the TOWTC.co.uk/taste should hopefully work. If not, it is 349652, and I can't make that appear because of various other reasons or Rieslings.
But Rieslings, exactly. So, but yeah, where did I get to? So this is 2022 vintage, so it's got a little bit of age on it.
Yeah.
It's got this lovely texture. And you think about Germany, it kind of goes up. You look at certain regions in Germany, they kind of match into France. There's regions of France that have been Germany, and a lot of the winemaking can be kind of similar, especially in, the Gries, the Rieslings, the Gewürztraminers. You're seeing those similar kind of wines grown in Alsace as well, which is on the border. So it makes sense that you have those kind of styles. But
if you were seeing a Pinot Gris, now this is quite rare because we're seeing a Pinot Gris from Germany that is marked as Pinot Gris, which I suspect is done for the international market. But if we were in Germany, you'd see a different name, wouldn't you? You'd see Grauburgunder, which is basically means the grey grape from Burgundy.
Absolutely. So, and there is. I think it's. Did I put it on the back? Yeah, I put it on the back. I put it on the back of the thing. Look at that.
Oh, there you go. Happy days.
So
it's useful.
On the brochure, there are a lot of grapes that go, oh, that sounds a bit weird. Spätburgunder, Lemberger, Grauburgunder, Weissburgunder, that actually have an international name. But we are seeing, I think, a little bit more of it. I think globally we're seeing more things. We're starting to see Burgundies with a that have Chardonnay or Pinot Noir written on them. We're starting to see
they've realised they don't exist in a vacuum.
Absolutely.
So we might have to know what
we're starting to see more and more labels where.
And I've sorted out the Slido now, so you can enter your code. Sorry about that. That was
there's kind of labels where you're actually getting to see the labels on what it is and what there is, and you don't have to have a geography degree and a biology degree and speak 17 languages to be able to drink a bottle of wine.
When people study GCSE German, I don't think they cover Frauburgunder or Trockenbeeren Auslese, the sort of the classic terms, which would be the first words I'd learn in German. But that's because I'm a wine knob, so it's got to be they probably focus more on some slightly more useful things. So I think they are learning that, and that's a great thing.
No, absolutely. I just think it's beautiful. It's got lovely richness to it. It's got lovely texture to it, and from a region that I don't think pop it in the chat if you've had stuff from Baden before, but it's it was a kind of, when I went out there, new region to me. I'd obviously the big region here in the Mosel, Rheinhessen, Pfalz are kind of where you see more of the, I don't want to say classic, but the more kind of commercial regions are coming over and you're seeing more of that kind of stuff. But you look at the tasting notes, we've got lemon, we've got citrus, we've got apple, we've got fresh,
mineral, citrus. I'm intrigued by the chemical flavor. Now, obviously someone's saying that there is something slightly a bit different about it that I wouldn't necessarily get it, but certainly for me, the big thing is that waxiness. There's that real sort of feel in your mouth, and yes, it's not a tasting note as such, but it really feels weighty and it stays in your mouth for a long time. Someone's commented there's a bit of lees aging going on there, which for those who probably aren't, for those who aren't aware of it, it's basically where you leave it in contact with the yeast cells after they've done their job of turning the sugar into alcohol, and it gives it this quite nice toasty sort of flavor to it, doesn't it?
But what's also interesting about this one, if you kind of look at, and time is all relative in the wine world, isn't it? Because a 30-year-old winery in the States is really old, and
old,
a 100-year-old winery in France is quite young.
Stupid newcomers.
But Germany has a huge amount of wine history. Vineyards planted that are still there, from the 1600s, and winemaking from before that. But real vineyard sites. These guys have only been doing it here since 1985. So they've come in with this new approach to wine. It's not, we've done this because this was always done. And behind this, there was a love of Burgundy. So they've planted grapes because they want to have this kind of powerful Burgundian loads of flavor kind of style, which
Well,
I think
there's
is
no
brilliant.
shame in having a really clear vision about what you want to create. I think we like, I think as kind of nerds, we like it where people let the place express itself. But I think it's equally valid to go in and say, I just absolutely love this quality of wine, and I want to make something that is as good as that. And then you start to find the nuance. You start to find the subtlety.
I think it's really interesting. Like, I've spoken to a lot of winemakers recently, especially in the New World, who have kind of got into wine and they've decided they want to do wine. They've taken a little plot or whatever, and it's not millions of acres and steeped in history. And they're just like, I want to make a bottle of wine that if I don't sell any, I can drink it.
Yeah.
That's what people.
Germany, industrial.
That was not supposed to stop.
He's got overexcited. Hasn't
Well,
he?
I tried to get something to do it because it was still anyway. Don't worry, I will.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Did you want to go with the video?
Things. No, I didn't really.
Powerhouse.
But let's rescue things with what Finn Bar is eating tonight. So Finn is having some guinea fowl with chanterelle mushrooms and hoisin sauce. Oh my goodness me!
By the way, I would like. You'd not put it up. Kathy's, I worked hard on this month.
Kathy's. So I wasn't sure whether, because we just picked up our tasting pack and it didn't have the tasting notes in it, so I wasn't sure whether Kathy was being sarcastic or real about this, because I think they are absolutely. You've done a great job on that. Thank you. And they're lovely. But
three whole badges.
Many badges indeed. So, but yes, I think it's something that's worth going into detail with. Now, for those of you who have seen our 4-year-old wines of Germany tasting, you might recognise the video when we do and manage to get it to appear. But yes, don't have steak with Riesling unless you're Jamie. He loves a bit of that, but not perhaps the best combo. But if it's combo for you for the night, then yes, we know. But yeah.
I tell this story often about me drinking a Gewürztraminer in a steakhouse with a ribeye steak. It's because I picked the wine first, and I was in a steakhouse, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to have fish in a steakhouse, but I went through the wine and said, I want to drink that. That's what it is. And you can talk about pairings, and pairings can be brilliant, and pairings can be perfect, and pairings can be wonderful. But sometimes you just want to
have what you want. Quite right. Shall I put on the Germany video? And we'll watch that while I try to rescue what's cooking.
Absolutely. What I think we'll do is we've yabbered on a little bit, so we'll
pour wine.
We'll skip the Slido on to wine number 2, which is the first of our 2 Rieslings. We'll do a little video, and then we'll move the slide over, and we'll come back and talk about wine 2.
Absolutely.
Sound good? He's going to click buttons, and it's going to go.
Let's go for it. I have no idea what's going to happen when I click this, but we'll try it.
Economic giants, sporting legends, and all of Germany. Industrial powerhouse, economic giants, sporting legends, and all of this despite being split in half for more than 40 painful years. This is not just a country of magnificent cities. It has beautiful countryside and some real geography going on. Vast rivers, huge mountains, pristine forests, and even geothermal spas. It's a country that I hold in very high regards. For more than 10 years, I worked for Deutsche Telekom and regularly visited. When we did, we'd often go out drinking in Bonn. But here's the thing, we would always choose beer. And there is no denying that beer is what Germany's most famous for. There are fabulous, clean, local-made Kölsch, Weissen beers, Pilsner, so on. It is cheap, high quality, and incredibly varied. And when we moved on from beer, it would often be to schnapps, the popular flavoured spirit drinks, fruit brandies, herbal infusions, but we never got tempted to go for wine. Surprisingly, it was only really around the 16th century that beer became the most popular drink. Before that, it was wine. Today, Germany is arguably the most distinctive major producer of wine in Europe, and is the 4th largest too. But much of this never leaves the region, and it is difficult. Perhaps aside from the crazy world of Italian wines, it is one of the hardest to understand, with its baffling naming conventions, labels and laws, not to mention the chance of picking up a bottle and finding that it's, well, a lot sweeter than you'd thought you were getting. And for sure, when many people think of German wine, the image it's trying hard to overcome is its reputation for cheap, mass-marketed, semi-sweet wines. But don't feel blue. None of that this evening. Oh, Jamie. You can spot who wrote this part of the script, can't you? Anyway, moving on from that, Germany is often admired for its elegant, aromatic white wines like Riesling, favourites with somms all around the world. But there is so much more to discover that we're going to try lots of different types from a few different regions. To give you a bit of context, let's talk about the history. German winemaking dates back to Roman times, and even as late as the 18th century, some of the traditional Roman techniques were still in use. Spiced wines were most popular before 1500, before whites took over, and then they moved on to heavier reds to ward off competition from Italian and French wine. The 16th century saw the wine industry go into decline, partly because of excessive expansion and a slump therefore in the price and then quality of wine, but then the 30 Years' War ravaged pretty much every part of the country. And it had a huge effect. Before this, there was 4 times the area of vineyards that there are today. In the 1800s, Napoleon conquered all of Germany to the west of the Rhine, and the vineyards were taken from the church and divided up. With industrialisation, the labour force moved into the cities and vineyards were now in real trouble. To try to counter this, the emphasis shifted to quality, and a famous wine law was passed in 1892, trying to make producers up their game. It wasn't perfect though, so it was revised in 1901, and in 1909, and again in 1930. And yet again in 1971. These laws introduced naming standards and insisted that wines were checked by committees for faults to earn permission to be labelled as a quality wine. One of the big things they were trying to overcome was producers who, rather than waiting for the grapes to ripen naturally, would harvest early and then chuck a bunch of sugar in. You won't be surprised to hear that this didn't have a good effect on the quality of the wine, so the 1971 version of the law introduced what's called the Predikat system. More terminology. Anyway, this was based on grape ripeness, and it ensured that the sweetness level in that initial grape juice was all 100% natural. Jamie's going to come back to that later to tell you how you can decipher these different labels. Good luck with that. Now, the first half of the 20th century was of course a period of serious crisis for German viticulture. With economic strain across the whole country, we've all seen the wheelbarrows full of cash. There were also some terrible vintages for weather, and I think something else might have happened, but I can't quite remember. Back in the 1930s, some of the merchants, particularly those selling to the UK, decided to focus on branding instead of complicated regions and vineyard names and so on. Instead, they mixed wines from different regions into semi-sweet, mass-produced blended wines like Liebfraumilch, which started to become immensely popular around the world. And from 1950 to 1990, the vineyard area started expanding rapidly again as German wine exports took off. They then started to work those vineyards really hard. Rather than growing a few highly flavoured grapes, the growers pushed the vines to produce more than 5 times as much weight of grapes than they did at the beginning of the century. That also didn't have a great impact on the quality. After 1970, there was considerable development and the new quality control laws came into effect. This did start to change things, and growers started to make some really incredible wine, and it became easier to tell the two different styles apart. However, those old sweet blends started to go out of fashion and certainly tarnished the reputation of German wine. So tonight we're going to let you try 6 much higher quality wines and show you how big the difference can be. These wines show off the dramatic places in which they grow because Germany is an incredibly dramatic country. It's somehow simultaneously flat and mountainous, rugged and smooth, green, rocky, hot, cold, wet, dry, misty, you get it all. Across 13 different wine growing regions you find very different soils and different climates. But even within these regions, the difference between going a few hundred metres around a bend on a river can produce a completely different temperature and a different flavour to the wine from the same grapes. On top of this, thousands of growers and winemakers shape the distinctive profiles of their wines into different quality categories and styles. And this means we have a lot to explore because that is what guarantees the special, distinctive diversity of German wines. So what does Germany look like from a wine point of view? Well, apart from a few exceptions, it's mostly concentrated in the southwest, where the weather's slightly warmer. Germany is traditionally seen as a cool climate country for wine. Being in the north of Europe, there are moderate summer temperatures which traditionally produced lower alcohol wine. But with global warming, this is changing. Another defining fact of the country is that many of Germany's best and most famous vineyards are on incredibly steep slopes overlooking the rivers. Here, the only thing that's suitable to grow commercially is grapes. But these steep slopes which gather the sun so well and give excellent drainage are impossible to work on with tractors and automatic tools. almost everything must be done by hand. Today, we see wine increasing in popularity in Germany, especially in the young, and a new, funky natural wine scene is coming up. Even within family-run wineries, a younger, more global generation of winemakers are bringing in what they've learned and trying out new things, just to experiment and see what works well on these quite amazing sites. And it's working. Around the world, German wines are gaining greater and greater reputation and recognition for being truly world-class. So, we've done history, geography, what grows where, and now hopefully you understand what the hock is going on. Dear God, Jamie. I need to start censoring these. Anyway, let's get back to the studio and see what you thought of wine number 1.
Brilliant. So I hope that gives a little bit of an overview of Germany. It is a large, complicated country when it comes to grapes, to rules, to regions, what the different styles are, and then how to, understand the label, what's going on, what's being made. And, sometimes it's really hard, and especially we're going to do 2 Rieslings here, that you pick up a bottle of Riesling and go, how will I know? Is it dry? Is it sweet? Is it whatever?
You just can't. I mean, there can be clues, but you never know for sure. So if you're in a restaurant, for God's sake, just ask the sommelier, ask whoever's serving it, is this sweet? Is this dry? Because a sweet wine can be great in the right place, or it can be bloody awful. So just ask.
Well, I think the big thing is it's not about whether it's a good or bad wine. It's the unexpectedness. If you expect to get something, and then it goes the other way. So Taylor was making hot dogs.
So we are having some.
We're
having the worst food in the world. We are having some nice bratwurst with some mustard and caraway. We're having some sauerkraut, and we're having some mashed potato because
everybody knows badgers love
mashed potato.
Oh, you were
completely.
There we go.
Put that in the. Anyway, there we
put
are.
that in your notes. But anyway, so let's move on. So we've got the first of 2 Rieslings, just to showcase distinct style. So we're in Franken here, which is over towards the east of the wine growing regions of Germany, and this
something to the east of Baden, isn't it?
And this is Rudolf Fürst, and interestingly, massively famous for his Pinot Noir. He makes some brilliant Pinot Noir. And and Spätburgunder. But also he has wines listed as Spätburgunder, wines listed as Pinot Noirs. So you see both of them.
Yeah.
But this is one of these wineries that goes back a little bit further. You can take their plantings back to 1638. So it goes back a little way. And
wow.
And it's absolutely brilliant. You walk around and there's these kind of like big stones with engravings in the middle of the vineyards that you go, this is this vineyard, this was planted at this point. Absolutely fantastic.
Cool.
But then you go to the winery, and the winery downstairs is classic, new there. But then you walk up, and the upstairs where there's a tasting room, a kitchen, and then it's just floor to ceiling windows that you just look out over the vines. And we're doing this tasting, and his mum had turned up to make a ragu for us to have for dinner.
Such family things, aren't they? So many of these wineries, like while there has been scale, they've managed to preserve this small scale family production thing. And I think, as we talked about at the end of the video, with this new generation of funky producers coming up, I think it's even more so. I think we associate Germany with massive businesses, big chemical firms, like motoring organizations. And yet, on the wine world, it's stubbornly resisted. And part of that's down to that geography, because it's very hard to make a big, cheap winery if all your slates are like that.
And I also think Germany went through a lot of change in the wine industry. There was, people didn't want to drink German wine, and there was a lot of family problem. The amount of stories I've heard of, like, my mum and my dad had the vineyard, they split up and then died, and their kids had that. So what one winery turned into 8 vineyard parcels, and then half the kids didn't want to deal with going up and down these steep slopes, so it kind of went to ruin. And we're slowly starting to see wineries bring these like vineyards back in under one roof again. But it was a bit almost like Burgundy, that you've got a row, you've got a row, you've got a row, you've got a row, and no one knew what to do with it, and it's a lot of Germany is hard to tend, hard to maintain, and then you have problems. There's been a lot of problems, in recent times with flooding and wine regions
and
disappearing.
even in the last few weeks, there have been horrific hail that's hit parts of the German wine production scene. In fact, a lot of the German wine production scene. And I mean, hail, obviously, it sounds inconvenient, but to a wine grower at the wrong time of year, it just strips the vines. I'll see if I can dig out some pics of it, but it strips the vines of all the foliage, all the grapes, and you basically, it's a write-off for the year. Anything that's been destroyed by this big hail. So
it goes through it, and for what it doesn't destroy, it will damage the grapes enough that then it leads to birds and insects and that's secondary problem. So it's not just the hail coming through and ripping everything through and shredding it. It's the secondary problems that come through that initial damage.
Should we just quickly have a look at some of our food pairings that people are having? We've obviously got our guinea fowl with chanterelle mushrooms, hoisin sauce, which I think would go with that Riesling so nicely. But we've also got this great cracking combination of fish and chips with a high acidity thing. Well, why do we smother it with vinegar? Of course you want that to cut through, and it just brings it to life. I think that's beautiful. But I mean, almost like what wouldn't wild salmon with baked potatoes and carrot and mint go with? What that sounds cracking too. So yeah, lots of great. Although we do have here, Cumbers is saying this is not the first glass of wine; it's the second, quite clearly. So yes.
It saves me making that joke.
Saves him making that joke. That's for sure.
We'll do the first wine second, but this is the first Riesling.
It is definitely that's definitely the first Riesling. That's true. Kathy also went to the London Wine Fair and met a winemaker called Tom Bentz, who has just taken over from his father. Exactly what we'd said. This whole kind of thing. We see also these generational shifts in attitudes towards the winemaking, which is really fun. But yeah, when did you last go? Was it 23?
23, yeah.
So and which bits did you visit?
So where did I go? I went to Franken, I went to Nahe, I went to the Mosel. So I was in that kind of area. So I was there for 2 days around that part of the world.
This isn't a typical Franken-shaped bottle, is it? Because isn't it the Franken? I've seen so many of these rounded kind of like.
So that's kind of the Bogbustel can be from that kind of region, which is that kind of like round bottle. It's interesting that there is that classic shape from there, but you're seeing less and less of them because
so many reasons.
but also
they have to fit on a shelf.
a lot of those strange shaped bottles, have been associated with things like Hock and Peace Porter and cheaper blended kind of wines. And I think where we did a in the last tasting we did a Shiraz.
We did
in a bottle that was shaped like that. And they're classic and they are there. B, they're a sommelier's nightmare because they don't fit on the wine rack. You can't store them anywhere. When someone wants to order a bottle from me, I can't ship it properly. It takes up 3 spaces.
And you can't protect it either.
But I also think there's a lot of people trying to modernize a little bit in the industry. So there's the balance of history and classic and whatever, but then there's that kind of let's be a little bit modern. Let's not be stuck with the preconceived notions of 1950s, 60s, 70s Germany.
Interesting. You mentioned those 1960s, 70s wines, and I think obviously apologies for those of you who already know this, but so many people, if you say the word Riesling to them, they go, "Oh, I don't like Blue Nun. I don't like Black." But they're not Riesling, are they?
Not 100%.
No.
So that usually those great. Well, Blue Nun's got all the flavors now. They make lots of different things. But a lot of those mass-produced wines, those slightly sweet wines, were based on Silvaner, and they'd have maybe 10% Riesling in there. But Riesling was the grape that was renowned for so whether it was a blend or not a blend, it was.
It got tarred with that.
It got tarred with that.
So,
And there's a lot of sweet Riesling and great, but there are brilliant. It's such an ageable wine. Years ago, I did a tasting with JJ Prum, and we tasted Rieslings back to, I think it was either 74 or 76, and they've just got such life, such brilliant, and they are brilliant for aging, because if you want to preserve a wine, sugar and alcohol, and if you've got a bit of both in the right balance, you're a
can I
high pH.
Is it? Yes, low pH. Low
Sorry.
pH. It's the
Low
acidity.
pH, high acid, low
acidity,
pH.
the low
you,
pH.
You knew what.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, having that high level of acidity means that the bugs that would eat the wine, and like obviously we think alcohol is a preservative, but there are certain microbes that have developed in life just to because we provided it with a source of food. We personally, for centuries back, Jamie and me and our generations before us, have produced alcohol, and therefore creatures have evolved to eat that alcohol.
Sorry, I meant I was the evolved creature.
I'm
the evolved creature that can survive with lots of alcohol.
That's fair.
That's where I was going.
That's fair. But yeah. So bacteria will attack that. The Cetobacter will turn it into, we heard the phrase acetic acid, that wine vinegar. So I can't remember where I was going. Yes, the low pH is the other thing that protects it. The high acidity means that these wines just are so, and we heard it from, bizarrely, I think we heard it from a Greek producer that was saying that they had analysed one of their wines as it was going through its production phase, all through the fermentation and aging, and it was being attacked by all of these bugs, microbes, that should have made it taste horrific. But they didn't, because the wine was protected by this level of the acidity. So yes, while it keeps your mouth fragrant and fresh, and keeps the taste buds on their go, it also has this remarkable ability when it comes to, exactly as you say, the aging. So yeah,
absolutely.
There you
go. Just for reference, before we go on to wine number 3 and sugar levels, because wines, especially Rieslings, can really fly up and down the mountain.
Can I also just quickly bring up the tasting notes, because we haven't actually shared those yet, because I've been an idiot.
Yes, so you can share those. People got their notes.
So we have some lovely classic lime, apple, peach, lemon, fresh acidity, creaminess. That is great. Very quaffable indeed. I might just quickly flick back to the previous wine, if that's right, just to see what that was saying. And wine 1, sorry, if I go back to the presentation. So it's lemon curd, butter, lemon, apple and pear.
That little bit of vanilla, that richness in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. And you can see the difference between those two sets of tasting notes. That's really cool. But I'm imagining, after lots of video and lots of us nattering on, there's probably a few empty glasses.
I think there is. So I'm just going to go residual sugar and residual sugar. So wine number 1 sits at 4.6 grams a litre. Wine number 2, 4.7 grams. So very much similar in style.
Nice, yeah.
I feel the second one feels a little bit.
It's got a little bit of fruit.
Feels a little bit more frigid. I think the first one was a little bit more complex. This one, but this is called Pur Mineral, for the whole point that it is very much of the land, of the style, very linear.
Gotcha.
And that's the style it's looking for. Anyway, should we move to wine 3 and Donhoff? Because I like some Donhoff.
Let's do that. I'm also going to try to turn the brightness up on the camera.
Okay, here he goes, as he turns it off. Right, so Donhoff.
That's better.
We are heading to Nahe. What a beautiful, 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 beautiful place. And I should have done better with my photos. But if anyone looked at the Online Wine Tasting Club website, the picture of our Wines of Germany tasting that looks kind of AI-ish, it is not AI-ish. That is the picture from the ridge looking down at the river going through Nahe, and Donhoff is just on the left-hand side. Absolutely beautiful. Like, if I'd ever taken, and I've taken some nice videos and some nice photos of my time, but if I'd ever taken a photo that should be a postcard for a region, it's that picture. It's absolutely beautiful. And these guys make lots of Riesling, lots of styles, lots of single vineyard. And these guys sit. So this is where I run through German wine law very, very quickly.
That's fine. You do it.
But it's all in your brochures, and all I have to say is not one to pat myself on the back, but the fact I feel I managed to get German wine law on one page, I think is absolutely madness.
It's a complex topic.
So basically,
you may need a magnifying glass, but if you want a larger version, shout.
We can send a PDF over. You can print it yourself. Do what you want. The whole point of the club is all the educational stuff is free, and you buy some wine to drink along with us.
Yeah,
and that's what we want to do. So you start at the very bottom, where you kind of have land wine, which is just you have Deutsche wine, which is wine that's made in Germany, and the grapes could come from anywhere. So like wine of Europe almost. You've then got land wine, where the grapes are German. They can come from wherever they are, and they don't fit any particular rules. And then you go into the Qualitätswein, which is a wine from one of the 13 regions called Baugebiet. And then you go up to what's called the Prädikat level. And this is based on not the sweetness of the wine, but the potential sweetness of the grape at harvest. And then you've got your different levels. So this is the one we've got here, Donhoff. This is a cabinet, which is your lowest potential sugar. Then you've got Auslese, Spätlese, Beer and Auslese, Eiswein, Trockenbeer and Auslese, which as you go up, it's just more sugar. And it's all about the wine, the grapes concentrating on the vines, having more sugar, all that kind of stuff. Your biggest clue is going to be, you've got to look at two things. You've got to look at the word on the bottle, whether it's cabinet, Spätlese, Auslese, whatever it is, but then look at the alcohol. So if you've got a cabinet and it's 12.5%, it's probably going to be relatively dry, maybe just off dry, 15, 20 grams of sugar.
Max,
So you notice a little bit of sweetness there, but you wouldn't go, this is sweet. On the other hand, you get some that are 8.5, 9. This is 8.5%.
Yeah.
So you'll notice there's a bit of sugar in there, yes? So this sits at 47 grams, which is a decent amount of sugar. It's not dessert wine. It's not 80, 90,
but now we're
grams.
out of, for me, the right pairing to go with that. Just for me,
this is...
I would go cabinet, like on the drier side, the 12.5 dry. Yeah, perfect with your bratwurst and your currywurst and all of those kind of things.
Did we move the tasting notes on for
I have just done.
Lovely.
So I shall move that up.
But this is, I just want to be very clear about this, that in the world of the worlds, this is not sweet. This is off dry to maybe medium by calling a pub standard.
Yeah.
So, and then when you've then got what is called the VDP, which is kind of like a Burgundian hierarchy that you can choose to be a member of. You have to be accepted into the club, and then your wines go in there. And this is based on vineyard sites. So you've got the equivalent of Village, Premier Cru, Grand Cru, and then you've got at the top end, you've got Grosses Gewächs and Grosses Lager, depending on whether it's a dry wine or a sweet wine.
Which? I don't know that. That's the gross. I should look at Jamie's thing. Well, I'll just read it.
So it's Gross Lager. So this is for sweet, and then Gross Gewächs is dry.
Cool. Good to know.
So, but there's loads of that in the brochure, and I could sit here and talk about it for hours. If you want to have a deep and meaningful conversation with me about German wine law, call me. We've got plenty of people on here.
Do that when you're struggling to go to sleep.
But so this is, you can do this because you speak better German than I do.
Crikey, but I don't have his eyesight these days. Dönhoff, Kreuzenacher, Curtin, is that a P? Curtinfull Riesling Cabinet.
So what does that mean to you, Mr. Taylor?
No idea. So it's Weingut Hermann Dönhoff, and Riesling is the grape, and Cabinet is obviously the sweetness level. But Kreuzenacher Curtinfull, I should know more about, but I'm kind of relying on you on this.
So because you're in the VDP, you have to put
that's presumably the name of the vineyard.
That's the vineyard site. So you have to put the names at vineyard sites on there. But Kreuzenpfuhl means toad pond loosely.
Pond.
So
Excellent.
it's based on the vineyard, the waterways around there. It's kind of rocky and pebbly and holds water and goes around. So it's called a Toad Pond.
Toad Pond. That is a brilliant name. I love that.
But this is their 2023 vintage. And I think this could age 15, 20 years if you wanted to. A lot of their wines, and I don't have any in stock, and I wish I could get hold of more. They do a lot of their wines in a Magnum series, so you can have Magnum series, so they sit and they age and they hang out. And when I went there, you walk around, it's just single vineyard after single vineyard after single vineyard after.
And these vineyards can be absolutely tiny. I think you might have seen on the video, just looking at these completely different styles of vines and things going down this slope in a block that looks like a typical sort of new build back garden, which is to say not huge. But yeah, this is delicious. Dernhoff are one of the most sort of best regarded producers, aren't they? Their stuff's amazing.
They're renowned. You know, there's
you'll find this in many good quality restaurants.
And it used to, especially when I was in the States, and I don't know how much it is now because of the way the global wine market's going. But a lot of their wine was very, very, very highly allocated. You had to be a lucky man just to get the option of buying some. It wasn't, people didn't come and go, do you want to have some Donahoff? It was like, yeah, you've been a very nice person and you spent lots of money with this agency this year. So we will allow you to buy 6 Magnums if you're lucky. And, you know, that was, you know, you probably go a couple of dozen through all of Washington, D.C. It's absolutely insane. Wow. So, but this is a wine. I think this is. It could go with so many things. You know, if it's aperitif. If you're doing something like a foie gras or something like that, it goes with a cheese board. It goes with dessert. Yeah. It's, you know,
and as Joanna says, it makes it basically a pretty good breakfast wine. So I'm not going to disagree with that.
Breakfast wine. Yeah.
Breakfast wine. Not. You've got to be careful what you pair it with.
Not Cocoa Pops.
Not Cocoa Pops. You know, not Fruit Loops. No, something a little bit more subdued, like kind of, I don't know, a honey nut cornflakes. That
honey nut Cheerios.
Honey nut Cheerios
to bring out the nuance.
Excellent.
I like. Oh, do you know? Just sit good in the morning. You know, have a little bowl of fruit salad and yogurt and a glass of. Hello.
Welcome to our dream breakfast. So like brunch a la online wine tasting.
So should we start doing this tasting at 8 a.m. instead of 8 p.m. so everyone can have their breakfast wines?
Why not?
But it does showcase, you know. And I'm going to go into a different thing here because there's a massive cry out for more low and more lows and no's and things like that. I understand that, and I understand this flexible drinking, less drinking, whatever, and no alcohol, but there's so many wines out there at Apes, the Fino Verdes of the world, the Rieslings of the world, that we've got some brilliant wines that are already lower in alcohol without having to jump around and de-alkalize a 16% Aussie Shiraz down to 6% to get it where it needs to get
spinning cones and reverse
because
I love the idea of drizzling on natural yogurt.
Yeah, without getting on a soapbox about, you know, messing around with wine. Let the wine be what the wine's going to be.
Yeah.
Certain regions make brilliant, big, heavy wines. Yeah. Some regions make brilliant, light, delicate wines. Go after that. And you can make some decisions. You can go, all right, I want it to be, I don't want to have it massively powerful, so I'll pick a little bit earlier. But we shouldn't be manipulating wine to hit a tax bracket. We shouldn't be manipulating wine to take it away from what it is so it has a brand name on the label.
Yeah.
I truly believe. So let's, you know, if you want a lighter, low alcohol, sweeter wine, boom, here you are. Yeah. If you want a low alcohol, dry wine, have a look at Vino Verde. There's enough grapes out there that do these.
Many of the wines, if they weren't messed around with, from England, you know, it's quite interesting. Like, we both judged at a competition called the Independent English Wine Awards, and one of the things that the organizer is very, very keen to say to the lead judges and then onwards to the teams is, don't judge these necessarily compared to every other wine in the world. Judge it as being representative of what it is. You know, if you're talking about a wine, is it the richest Chardonnay that you've ever tasted? No, perhaps not. Perhaps it's more that lighter, like more fragrant end. But we create these sort of incentive systems, particularly as the traditional wine world has done with judging and medals and 98 points and everything, that it has to be
big and shouty,
massive, shouty sort of wine.
I've used all the oak and all the fruit and all the extraction,
and do you know what?
and
That's
all
why
the
a
alcohol.
lot of people say to us when they come to our tastings, "I don't drink red wine because I don't like it." Well, that's because you're drinking stuff that is 16% alcohol with tannins that will, to some people's taste buds are perfect. And some people's taste buds, if they're eating it with the right food, are perfect.
But others, you think you could take the wallpaper off.
Is that? It's like having a cup of tea that's been brewed for an hour. Like, what the hell?
Is that pleasant?
It's not pleasant, yeah. I do like, so this is a great comment about not huge amounts of petrol flavour. I've never fully understood where the petrol flavour comes from. I know what the compound is, but there have been so many different kind of arguments about how you develop it.
So there's two ways, and I'm sure there's someone going to correct me who's much smarter than I am. But from what I gather, there's two ways you can get petrol. Petrol comes A, from aging, or B, from light sunburn on the grapes.
Okay.
So if you've got a young wine with petrol, it's had a little bit of not sunburn in a bad way, but it's had more UV in it, which you can get. If you've got a cooler year and you strip back your canopy and then you get a few sunshiny days, because you get double sunshine in the Mosel, because you get it coming down, you get this reflection back up. So you can end up with that quite quickly, even if it's only 2 or 3 days of it in the season. You can get that. So that then develops those compounds within the skin, and so the skin thickens up, and that adds to that kind of gasoline, petrol-y kind of flavor. Also, some develop to get that.
Yeah. I did also read there was a paper I read a while back that was saying that it was all to do. It was a very much a kind of like a tertiary process. So it's like, it's not necessarily what it puts into the wine tasting of the petrol, but something that then develops as you ferment it and then you age it. So it might be a combination, exactly as you say, of that time, the conditions the grapes had, and what exactly was going on that year. So it's a really strange combination of different things. But a very cool conversation.
I'm allowed to do some self-promo and talk about Riesling.
Go for it. Yeah.
So no, talking about that, an old Riesling, I hosted a private tasting at Sopwell House last night over in St Albans.
Always available for private tasting.
Always available for private tasting. So over at Sopwell House, which is St Albans, which is a country manor spa, lovely kind of thing. I don't know why they let me in the door, but they let me in the door. But I did this kind of global wine tastings, and one of the wines was Dr. Lucen Riesling. It was a 2020 vintage Grosses Gewächs from the Mosel, and it was absolutely, and there was people there who were very big wine people, and people who were less wine people but enjoyed a drink. And there's just one person saying, that just smells like a petrol station. And he thought he was going mad. He's like, no, should that be that? I'm like, that is exactly what it is, because it's 2020. 2020, 6 years old.
6 years old, yeah.
6 years old. And it's got this really kind of like ripe characteristic, this lovely petroliness, and it's a off drop, maybe 26, 28 grams of sugar. But yeah, it's Grosses Gewächs, and from this one single vineyard plot, and it was quintessentially what I would expect our older Riesling to taste like, and it's absolutely brilliant.
Right. And it can fade a bit again after a few more years, so that's very, very cool. Kathy loves Sopwell House. I considered it for my wedding. We didn't. We went somewhere else.
Why? Because you heard who gets in there for wine tastings.
Yeah, I heard exactly. I was like, I've got to keep away from that one. Hello, Paul. Very good to see you. Riesling, we joke it tastes of petrol, and sometimes it really does. This one doesn't. And that's a lovely call, I'd say, to move on to the next vine.
Absolutely. Right.
So where are we going next then?
That's a good question. We are going to the Rheinhessen.
Ah, excellent.
Just quick question in the chat. Is a slightly bigger map as a single piece of paper helpful for these tastings? Because I had it on the inside of the booklet, and I'm like, oh, everyone might have to have a microscope for it. So I put a separate map in. So if that's helpful and you like more stuff, let me know. If you go, oh my God, here's more
killing polar bears.
Here's more pieces of paper I need to throw in the bin. Let me know as well.
Yeah.
So we are going to Luguntrum, and if you've been with us for a while, you would have had this, not this exact wine before, but this wine from a different vintage before. I just love the wine and I want to show it, and it's absolutely.
People like the map.
There we are.
Let's have the maps.
We'll do more maps. If there's more content and more stuff that you want in the boxes, let me know. I am happy to design and build and whatever. AI makes life much easier for me to put these things together now.
It just needs a lot of checking to make sure it hasn't hallucinated complete and utter nonsense.
Yes.
So
the region of Barolo in the south of Germany.
Oh, I saw a fantastic one that there was a map today, and there was like it had put Marseille somewhere around about like Bordeaux, like, and there were other things. It's like you've got these. There was an Italian city somewhere around about Beaune. It was like, for God's sake, just how do you do these things?
Yes.
So
It helps, but it needs some help. But anyway, so Blue Nun.
My old eyes like a big map as well, Dan. You're not alone there.
So yeah, we're in the Rheinhessen,
Ooh.
and this is another brilliant one, and it is right on the river. We walk around, and that part of the river there is really, it's a long look to see the other side. There's big cargo ships coming up and down that part of the river. I think sometimes we think river, walking around the UK, and think it's this little piddly stream
The
that
Rhine
you
is
can,
not like that.
I might just, take my socks off and
Yes,
walk over.
yeah.
It is absolutely not that. It's an absolute hub of being able to move traffic up and down, and that's what it always was. There's so many wineries on rivers, because it's good for the grapes because you've got these slopes,
but you
but
can transport the wine.
to transport the wine and all the stuff that you need to make wine, barrels and tanks and people and all those kind of things. So that's why we see these kind of things. But these guys, Lou Guntram, are right on the river. And you come out, they've got this lovely little cell. I keep telling you, I should just tell stories of when I was there. But we got there and we just sat outside with a glass of their sect just on the river in the sunshine. It was absolutely brilliant.
For those who don't know what that is, could we have a bit of sect education, please? What is sect? And
let's talk about sect.
Let's talk about sect. Yeah,
there's
indeed.
a song about that, isn't there?
There is.
German sparkling wine.
German sparkling wine.
So
made from?
Depending.
It depends.
It depends.
So, going to be some good Riesling
there's
stuff.
Riesling sparklings.
Do they do some like kind of champagne traditional grapes at all? Or I don't know if
I would guess probably. I don't. Yeah. It's not. Well, you put me on the spot with it. Not being my specialist subject.
No. But we don't do much sparkling.
I think it's generally done traditional method. Though, so it's secondary fermentation in bottle.
Cool.
But it's the same way that you've got champagne, and then you've got Cremant, and then you've got sect, and then you've got kind of Franciacorta and English sparkling wine, Cap Classique. So it's generally really good, really fresh. And what you've got that option with is you've got grapes all over Germany that because it's cool and because they're high acid grapes, you can pick them early because you're able to add the sugar at a later date.
Yep.
So you can pick them early, have massive acidity.
Yeah, of course.
And just tweak it so you can get some brilliant crisp fresh.
I think the Riesling ones are some of my favorites.
Once again, we talked about breakfast wine. If you've had a bit of, if you're a bit bleary-eyed after, a hard day working at a wine tasting and a wine dinner and a night and, schnapps or whatever you've done. Not that I did that off show, I went straight to bed because I'm a good boy.
Naturally.
If you need something to wake your palate up at 8 o'clock in the morning at your first winery, a glass of sect will do that for you. It's like, just check there's still some enamel on my teeth.
Sehr gut.
But here we are. We are Rheinhessen, and so we are going a little bit
slightly flat a bit, isn't it? But
well, it's quite flat because it's what you say. It's flat by the river, but it comes up and it goes up, and you walk up, and there's just it's beautiful views. It's not high altitude by any stretch of the imagination, but there's probably 150, 200 feet elevation within about half a mile of getting inland. If anyone's walked the Chilterns, it's a bit Chiltern Hilly.
Chiltern Hilly.
You can walk it, and it's okay.
We should make some Gewürz in the Chilterns.
It's not like the Mosel is like this. The Mosel is 90-degree angles in some place. You need a carabiner and to get yourself up there.
So this is a great question because my very first thought, I was expecting a classic Gewürz. I gave it a swirl. The swirling lifts all of the aromas into the glass, and when you stick your nose right down there, with the Gewürztraminer, you've got to be a bit cautious because it goes boom and hits you with those sort of, Turkish delight kind of flavors. This is more subtle. It was quite subtle.
Gewürz for me, and I wouldn't say I picked atypical. I probably picked wine that I like. Because I think
there's the motivation. I like it.
No,
Why not? Why the hell
but
not?
for me, Gewürz, if it's not in the middle, it's not great. If it's too light, it can be it's Riesling.
Watery.
It's Riesling and watery, and there's nothing to it. If it's too much, it reminds me of that massive bowl of pot puree my grandmother would have on her coffee table. That it's just like you got rose petals and lavender burning your eyes. So you've got to get that balance in the middle, and this is what I like about this.
It's actually really nice. I like this a lot. Finn is saying that he's having some Penang curry, scallops, king prawns, and squid. So is this how you eat every night, Finn? I've got to say, or do you say it was a special occasion when you're with the wine tasting club? I mean, that's cracking. We always think that, but the more aromatic things can go nicely with that Asian food.
So there's a couple of good notes here. Okay, about it's not like it, and I'm not keen on this. So, Gewürz, I feel, is quite a polarizing grape. It is a bit marmitey because it has that real kind of like floral, rose petally. And if it's too much, it feels like someone's taken a can of Lynx and spread it in your mouth. And it's not really like anything else. There's lots of other grapes out there that you can go, if you like XYZ, you might like this.
No.
Okay, if you like Gewürz, what else might you like?
Maybe Muscat. That's the only kind of thing that in my head. But that's about it.
But if you don't like Gewürz, okay, so go. And I know that's tarring everything with the same brush, and there's lots of different Gewürzes. We'll find one you like. Well, that's crap that I usually say, right? But if you don't like Gewürz, there's not really anything I tell you to steer clear of.
No.
If you go, I don't like Albarino, I go, steer clear of Verdejo or Viognier or something like other aromatic things.
So I really like this one. I like Torrentes too. I was going to say Torrentes is the other really sort of divisive,
polarizing.
I'm with you on the Torrentes. I can just about sort of cope with a lot of them, but it's not.
What do the tasting notes look like for this one?
Rose. It's rose.
There we go.
There we go. Badger.
Oh, we're
rough, soapy. So soapy is that tasting note you get with the
Torrentes. So that kind of like that cilantro enzyme. That some people, you look at Torrentes and people go, "Oh, it tastes like soapiness," and half the what is it the number? I think half the people. But I think it's about 20% of people have that.
It's a gene,
reaction to it. It's a gene thing.
Yeah.
Like 20% of people go, "This tastes like dish soap," and everyone else is like, "What are you talking about?"
We went for a wine tasting at a school a few weeks back with a very long club member of ours, and there were lots and lots of the science department teachers there, and I had a very long, complicated conversation where I definitely was put in my place in terms of scientific understanding of genetic activation of various different things that were going on. I'm like, I agree completely. I have no idea that was this level of but yes, it comes down to there is a vast difference depending on whether you have that gene. So what sort of happens to your interpretation of the taste, and Gewürz is very much in that sort of sense. You find that with perfumes, don't you, as well? Some people love them, some people hate them. But it is, I think this is a very astute comment here, surprised by the dry finish on the palate. It doesn't coat your tongue with that sweetness or anything at all. So
that's because it's 6.5 grams.
6.5 grams. Well,
so 6 grams is what is generally the perception level, and obviously perception levels differ per person, but 6 grams is kind of where you can perceive. So we're just above being able to notice there's some sugar in there, but it's got a lot of sweet flavors. It's got kind of that fruitiness. It's got that richness.
Now this is a good question. So
because we can only pour 6.
Yeah, it's so hard choosing what you're not going to put in.
We could do a whole year of just wines of Germany, and I think that it's so we miss so many brilliant wines and styles. Well, we could do a tasting of 6 Rieslings of the Mosel. We could do the
I-
same
I would be
winery,
happy to
Cabernet
do it.
Spain, Lace House, Lace Ice wine.
I'd be happy to do 6R Pinot Noirs. That would be a great fun tasting for me.
Oh.
But I remember walking up the hill towards the castle in Würzburg and seeing all these ancient Silvaner grapes that have been grown there for, years and years on really thick trunks, and these people hoisting these mechanisms up and down the side that would allow them to load in them. There is plenty of that Silvaner there, and especially that sort of Franken region. There's some great stuff. How do you decide? Well, do you know what? We picked these ones. I hope you enjoy them, and we'll maybe come back.
We did a
Silvaner.
Silvaner.
We did a Silvaner. You did one with something, but what was that in? I was in a.
Was it a back to school in January?
Was it in the back to school one?
I can't think where else it would have fit.
Unless it was in another third party tasting you did.
No, it was in January because it was in that it was in the weird green bottle, wasn't it?
Yeah, I certainly remember we had those big weird green bottles in. I just don't remember what it went into. And Joanne's looking forward to the Alsace tasting. Sorry, the Ukraine tasting. Yeah, I am too. I think it's going to be. I think actually, do you know what? There's some
fun stuff coming. Yeah,
there's fun stuff coming. But I will just say this very briefly, which is that we say comparison is the enemy of joy, but it is the ballsiest thing possible for a winemaker to say, do you know what? I'm so confident. And that's what the Ukrainian wine regions have said is, do you know what? Give us your best shot. Throw these grapes from elsewhere in the world where they're at home against us to see how we compare. That's confidence. That is super cool. So I'm really looking forward to that one. But yeah, anyway, back to...
We'll talk about all the super cool tastings that are coming up.
That's Gewürz, I'm joking.
Gewürzana.
Yeah, do you know what? The first fragrance I got from this was a slightly strange one because it had that florality, but it was almost. And I don't know whether it's just because in the I put some curry spices into the sauce that we had with the. But I got almost like a currywurst fragrance from this. It had that kind of like.
Just need to move your plate a little bit.
Yeah, maybe it's the plate.
There you go, that's gone.
No, I still slightly get it. I still slightly get it, almost curry, like a fruity curry kind.
It's
of
almost like a
it.
cardamom-y kind.
Yeah,
yeah. No, definitely.
I don't know why, but there we are. Let's shall we have one final look at that? Someone thought it was rough, and that's absolutely fine.
And someone's got a badger
someone
in
said
there.
road water, and we got a badger, and we got white blossom, which I think is great. So we will move the tasting notes on, and we're going finally for a Pinot Noir. So where's this one from?
This is from the Pfalz.
The Pfalz, which is one valley down from the R Valley, or well, somewhere around there. Anyway, it's a little bit south of, or is it northern? The
Pfalz is. There's my map here.
There's Pfalz. Oh, that.
Yeah, down here.
And R is so it's a few. It's a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit down.
Further down.
From
there. Yeah.
So this is.
So you'd expect a bit warmer, but it's also a little bit like probably higher altitude, so it goes towards the Alps.
So this is. How do I explain this? This is a wine that's made for a distributor. Okay, so but let me tell you the story. So this is.
He's honest. He doesn't say
no.
This was a second wine because they weren't allowed to sell it, so they put a different label on it. It's like,
no, but
this was made.
I'll leave the story because it's there on the tasting notes, and that's how it was one of the original owners of.
Quite right, yeah.
ABS that brought this in, but this is made at Villa Wolf, and I would have loved to put some Villa Wolf into this tasting, but we'll talk about the way the world works. Villa Wolf has just changed importer within the UK. So the person who had Villa Wolf doesn't have any anymore, and the person who now is in charge of Villa Wolf coming in has not had it delivered yet.
So we can't have that.
But this is made at Villa Wolf by Dr. Ellie Lewson. So there's
two names really quite big.
So Dr. Lewson is Ellie Lewson, and he is a character, to say the least. And if you heard this story before, I'm sorry. If you've not heard it, I'm going to tell it again. And if you have heard it,
I want to hear it.
So we went out and we got to the Mosel, and you're there, and it's everything we expect. It's this slate, and you're walking around the vineyards. You go, get yourself a piece of slate, snap it in half. And what is really interesting about slate, God, why am I talking about rocks? I'm talking about rocks, aren't I? It was absolutely dry, and it was high 20s, maybe low 30s.
Okay.
You take a thin piece of slate and you snap it in half, it's wet on the inside. So these slate soils, even in high heat, are able to keep water, which is really
all
cool.
between these different layers
So,
that they have.
So all these different, loads of single vineyards, the Sonhauer vineyard, the Wirtsgarten, all those kind of things we go around. We go, and he's got he's got multiple ones, but two main ones. So there's the one at the kind of like chateau where we stayed, and then he's got one that's a little bit more downtown. So we got to the house, had a little look round, went to a couple of vineyards, went to the winery, and we go down. It's got all these kind of just, I'm experimenting with this. I was going to age this Riesling for 37 years and see what happens, kind of thing. It's like, so it's a big enough winery with enough brands and enough, he makes wines of all levels. He does custom wines with whatever, that he's got enough that he can just kind of, I'm going to play with this. Great, fantastic. So we tasted these wines, whatever. We jumped back in the minibus. I want to nickname him Ernie Schumacher. Going in this minibus, and we get to this roundabout, and it's like it's a group of us. I think there was probably 8, 9 of us. I can't remember. But we get to this roundabout, and he goes, "Should we go see another vineyard?" And he goes round the roundabout. And should we go see a vineyard, or should we go back to the winery? Should we vineyard, winery, no, let's go get pissed. Just and that was it. And absolutely, like the hospitality was brilliant, the wines are brilliant, and we were sat there, and he's sort of pulling stuff out of his cellar. It's like, let's play blind tasting. And like it was a 1996 JL Chave Rhone. It just absolute madness from all over the world. But the hospitality was great. The food was fantastic. What a lovely, lovely man. What a lovely, lovely place to be. But in the 80s, he took, and so that's in the Mosel. In the 80s, took over the Villa Wolf project, which is in the Pfalz.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
And these make some of absolutely brilliant wines, but some of the best value wines on the planet. And and I can't wait to get some in, and I'll let everyone know when they're here. We did their rosé a couple of years ago in a tasting. Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's the one.
I didn't
remember.
And I was talking to my sales rep who's bringing that into the country now, and he thought there was a typo. He's like, that can't be the price of it because it's such good value. So when that rosé comes in, there's a Riesling, there's a Gris, they'll be on the list for people to buy. But anyway, so this is Pinot Noir, this is Spätburgunder, and we're starting to see more and more red wines in Germany. Spätburgunder, Frauburgunder, a really, really good quality.
Pinot Noir, as it's known to others.
Pinot
Nero to even more people, or other things. Black Pinot. I was just putting up because I was what I love about what you're saying about these people with their stories. It just reminded me of my favorite crazy story from the Ahr Valley, which was one of the wineries I visited when I was out there, and I'll see if I can get these pictures up now, was Meyer Nekel, which is right up in the village of Dernau, which was really horrifically affected by the flooding that happened back in 2022. I want to say.
Okay. Were you there just after that?
It was like, it might be in 21 or 22, and it was.
I will follow on my story because it'll be chronological then.
Yeah. But so I visited their winery and had those incredibly wonderful sort of crisp, like sort of pizza style things that were I can't remember what they're called, but beautiful food, beautiful wine, and the Pinots. As those who know me, massive Pinot lover, and it was just incredible wine, and yet this is such a tiny little winery. But what I heard was that it was two sisters who were now the generation who were the winemakers there, and they were making their wine. They got the warning about the floods incoming up the valley, and they thought their first reaction was, well, let's save as much of the wine as we possibly can, because of course you poured your heart, your life, it's your family's future earnings into this wine. They went in to try to save what they could, but the water levels rose so fast up the valley, they were trapped in in basically towards the roof of the winery building. So they were going to drown, and they dived down. They managed to break through a window and swum out into this raging torrent of water that was sweeping them downstream. They managed to float to the surface, and they both managed to grab hold of a tree, and they climbed up the tree and got into that tree. And that was where they stayed until the levels went down, and they were able to be rescued. When they spoke to their family afterwards, and they all gave themselves a hug about the fact they'd survived. By the way, the other side of the river, all the wineries got swept away, all the villages, all the buildings swept away. Their mother told them that their grandfather was the person who had planted the tree that saved their lives. I mean, what a story! What an incredible.
It was insane to see. So
Yeah.
I was a year, 18 months after you. Then it must have been.
Yeah.
And there's still watermarks on the buildings at the second floor, and you can see how high the flood was. And you're like,
it's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, halfway up the second story building.
Yeah,
but
crushed cars round by the side of the road.
The reason that flooding was so bad was because the whole region's got all these little stone bridges, and the first stone bridge collapsed. The second one, the third one, and when it got to the fourth one, there was so much debris. The fourth one didn't collapse. And therefore, everything got blocked.
Right.
So if everything had continued to collapse, they would have been in a slightly better state. But all the debris blocked it. And I was at John Stodden, who we've tasted before. It's not in this one. And we're going off at a massive
tangent, but that's fine. That's what we do.
But
it's fine.
They were telling me the story that it flooded, and then it took them 9 months to, like, by hand, just dig all the soil and everything out of the cellar, bring their wines back up, and get back to where it was. It's
absolutely mad.
It's just, I think sometimes we see a wine on a shelf at a certain price and go, why is it that?
Yeah.
And I think Germany is key. You look at the steep slopes, you look at the people, you look at the hardship, you look how tough it is to actually bring these things in and put in a bottle for us to enjoy. I think they should be worth every penny that they put in.
I agree. But yeah, I think we've had a few comments that the last two could be served chilled, and I completely agree. This would be a very smashable wine. But I say it's smashable, but there is an awful lot of complexity in there when you look for it.
But if we're talking about the last two, that means people are obviously on the last one. So we should have a look at the tasting notes and
so absolutely. Home. So we have smoke, we have berries, we have all sorts of. We have blackcurrant jelly, baby. Or is that a jelly baby rather than blackcurrant jelly baby? Probably the former. Licorice, strawberry laces. Yeah, I mean, is it a sort of a Grand Cru Burgundy style complexity? Absolutely not. Is it a Californian Burgundy boom? It's certainly not that. But there's a beautiful sort of understated simplicity and elegance to it. It's a really elegant wine, I think. I really like this. I'm going to give him my other glass for wine number
other
6.
Glass. You're going to keep some there. So, but yeah, it's just to showcase that we can get brilliant wines of all styles, all over the place.
And this is the Schneitmann. When Jamie first introduced this to me, he was like, "Oh, we should do a version of a song like the Scat Man, but about Schneitmann." I tried to sort of see if I could make it work, and I couldn't.
Could you not?
God help us all if I hadn't given up on that project. But this is a grape called Lemberger, Steinweiger. So this. It's just a lovely understated label. It's got a little bit of classic sort of that sort of wonderful italic, almost script-like font to it, with a mixed with a slightly more newer, almost Swiss style sort of simple fonts and almost like kind of Art Deco thing going on there. It is 13% alcohol. Now, So we're still in that kind of nice, balanced, not over the top red
Mhm.
wine point of view, but it's a very noticeably darker color to the Pinot.
Well,
which I
absolutely
would
is. So
expect.
we're kind of south, but so we're Württemberg.
Mhm.
And Lemberger, because we just want to be different, is Blaufränkisch. So I have two grapes that are not many people know about, but they've got their synonyms going around.
Well, it's Europe. It has to be done.
Oh no, it absolutely does. But it's technically land vine because it doesn't
Okay.
hit the
Yeah, I
rules,
was going to say it doesn't have
but-
much on the label.
but it's got its own single vineyard site. So it's a single vineyard site, but doesn't
In fact,
hit the GG kind of.
They've
rule.
used a very different style thing. So most of these places like to apply this complicated set of legal protections to their name called a PDO or PGI. So a protected designation of origin or a protected geographic indicator. PDO is more rare than PGI, I believe. So
PGI is bigger.
PGI is a bigger region, and PDO is that sort of designation of origin, which would be your sort of like your Barolo or whatever it is. But they've called this Steinwieger. They've given us a trademark, just a standard trademark. So you can't call it.
These are VDP classified vineyards
exactly, yeah.
with Lemberger in single site.
Mhm.
By the Schneidman, and it's all things that you like: spontaneous maceration, whole bunch. It's all your favourites.
I like it in moderation, that sort of thing. But I do like it because I like anything that adds a bit of depth and complexity to the wine, so that it's not just over simple.
No, and I think this kind of shows. You can do it in any country now. You really can. But I think with Germany, there's thoughts of what it should be, could be, has been.
Mm-hmm.
And to go, we've got rich Gris, aromatic Gewürz, dry Riesling, sweeter Riesling, light reds, richer reds. It showcases that you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, there's noticeably more tannins on this. And it's strange because it still feels light.
And it's very different from Austrian Blaufränkisch.
Very different.
Very different.
Completely unrecognizable, strangely. I'm confused by this wine. I don't know quite what to do with it. It's almost like it's in its own place, isn't it?
No, I'm really intrigued how the tasting notes come around
Yeah.
because it's an exciting glass of wine.
It's earthy. Someone doesn't like it.
But it's done. It's foul.
Yeah, well,
Nasty.
someone's getting extra. Like, do you know what? Tell us if
Yeah.
you don't like it. Tell us, for God's sake.
24 months in, old
Intriguing.
oak barrels. It's not very Austrian style.
Not at all.
It is. It's kind of where do I put? When you get kind of like the very kind of like classic, like kind of light style farmyard rustic Rhone kind of wines.
Yeah, but I get that. But also, there's something really different about it. When I'm smelling it, I'm almost getting there's something that I associate with like Thai or Vietnamese cooking. I don't know what's going on with me tonight. This is really weird. But there's this those little sort of green things that you find in Thai food sometimes. They're like mini oh my god, what are they? These mini vegetable things, but they look like peas, but they're not peas at all. I'm getting that from it. I'm being really useless. I should ask AI. You tell me what you think about it first.
Well, get your small Thai vegetable, not edamame.
No.
I don't know, whatever. Asian pea.
It's not a pea at all. No. Anyway, tell me what you think about the wine. And
Well, Grok's going to tell you.
Grok will tell me what I'm.
Other
hallucinating
AIs are
completely.
available.
Yeah.
I think it is that kind of. It's not light. It's not heavy. It's down the middle. It's got this nice kind of tertiary. It's 2019 vintage, so it's got a little bit of age to it. It's got this kind of like little tertiary bit to it.
Pea aubergine. That's my tasting note. My slightly random one. Yeah, some people are struggling with this one. It's an interesting wine. It's like I like wines that don't fit into a simple straight category.
It's a bit smoky. It's got.
Yeah.
It's almost. I keep going backwards and forwards to different things with this because I've tasted it a few times. It's almost got a pinotage
Yeah, I
kind
was
of feel
going
to
towards
it.
that. Yeah, But this is a 2019 wine, so there's definitely a developmental side to it. But
Well, it's good. Well, by the look at the tasting note, good job I didn't buy 3 pallets of it.
but I get this kind of that sort of there is a lot of tannin, but it's still quite watery in flavour. It's light in flavour, but heavy in tannin, but in a different way to other wines that I've had, and certainly very different.
Oh, yeah, we got to love it.
I don't hate it at all.
So that is the joy.
Yeah.
That is the joy. We go from not my thing,
not Austrian style,
to love it,
struggling with it, love it, and I like it because it's different. Brilliant.
And I
like it.
That is the epitome of getting wines in front of people, and it divides a room, and people have their opinions, and it's absolutely brilliant.
Is this my new go-to wine? No. Am I very happy that we've tasted it, and would I happily drink again? Yeah, absolutely. But equally, that doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong if you say that's actually is my new favorite wine. Because I remember we had, was it a Blaufränkisch? What was the one that we had where that's customer of ours
was bathing in it. Is a Blausweigelt.
A Blausweigelt.
Blausweigelt from Domaine Vacal.
Yes. And we we thought it was pretty nice, like nothing necessarily that special. And this customer bought cases of it on an almost like sort of weekly basis. It was crazy. So yeah, and this is a good point. It's had so much age that the tannins must have softened. So what the hell were they like when they went into the bottle? Because for those of you who don't know, over time the tannins, the grippiness on your lips, that on your tongue and your lips, it fades. They all sort of start to come together. These different molecules they accumulate and they form longer chains, and over the sort of initial 20 years or so, they soften out, and then they might start breaking apart again and forming sediment. But yeah, it's a fun thing. So yeah,
there we are. That's a quote. If you wanted to be, this is why we do what we do.
That's why we do it. Like if we just hit everything right down the middle,
and everything tasted and it should,
very bored very quickly. So hopefully, I mean, we've been doing this for 6 years now, so nearly.
And there's always something new and fun, and I think that's
always something new and fun.
Anyway, do you think it's quiz time? Last look at the tasting notes.
We've got a quiz. Yeah, let's have a last look at that.
So we've got a little quiz.
Lots of black cherry. We've got some developmental things like mushroom. Yeah, it does taste young. It absolutely does. The green peppercorns is, I think, in that same category of aromas that I was getting from those pea aubergines. So that slightly, almost slightly spicy, but kind of green at the same time thing. Treacle, yeah, it is a bit rough at the edges. I will agree with that. But there is berry, there is earthiness, there is cherry. It's a really interesting, different sort of wine. I like it. I like what it's teaching us about wine and winemaking and different grapes growing in different places. So
absolutely
super cool. All right, so let's move on to the quiz of the night.
So as we get people into joint quiz, does that mean I now have to get my housekeeper and tell everyone what's going on for the next couple of months as quickly as I can while we let everyone into the quiz?
Yeah,
look at that.
Too long,
so next month we are doing Ukraine versus the world. So Sarah, who joined us for the Ukrainian tasting last year, will be joining us again, and she has picked 3 Ukrainian wines: an Albarino, I'm going to tell what people is, a Merlot, and a Pinotage, all from the Ukraine. I am picking an Albarino, a Pinotage, and a Merlot from the rest of the world. So we go side by side, competitive. Pick your favourite.
Like I say, ballsy.
That is really brilliant. Cool. The following month, we are doing wines of Norfolk, 3 wineries from Norfolk. I'm heading up there in August to do a little bit of filming, meet the winemakers, all that kind of stuff. So that is going to be absolutely brilliant to showcase a slightly different region of the UK that's not Hampshire, not Sussex, not Kent, not Crouch Valley, that kind of stuff. So brilliant wines.
The area where I remember back when I very first got into winemaking, someone said to me, East Anglia, Norfolk, wherever you are, you're in this massive golden zone for making wine. So that's really cool.
And then in October, with the date to be confirmed, we are partnering up with the not yet named wine company, a gentleman called Alex Brogan, who is one of only 5 people, only 5 people ever to win the IWSC Emerging Talent in Wine ever, me being one of the other 5. So we are partnering up to do a tasting. He basically does wine by committee. You join his club, he sends you questions, and he makes wine for the club based on what the answers are. So there's going to be a couple of wines that he wants to showcase, but also if you are a member or you've got a tasting pack ahead of time, they're not on the website yet because we've not quite set the date, you will be able to make choices as to which wines you taste during the tasting. And after that, there will be an opportunity to potentially put a club together to build our own wine as the online wine tasting club. So this is...
when we met this guy the other day, we went to the Condor Wines 25th anniversary, 15th anniversary. Sorry, 15th anniversary. It was really interesting because the story of what he did was basically what we were trying to do at the beginning of our initial wine journey, and yet the gods smiled upon him, and that he got to do what he wanted to do in the first place. We got to do something really different, super cool. But it meant we got to like chat to this guy who's done all the things we'd been starting to think of, and we clicked so quickly. So it's going to be really.
It's going to be brilliant. So all the people here know us. This is if you've got a friend who's not part of the club and you think they might like some wine, this is the tasting to introduce them to. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. But that's a lot of yabbering. Let's go to the quiz.
Let us go to the quiz. Okay, so first question. The Moselle wine region is best known for vineyards planted on what type of landscape? Is it flat coastal plains? Is it sandy valleys? Is it steep river valley slopes, or is it high altitude mountain ranges? That's an excellent question indeed. I like this. Kathy says she loves Flint. That was the vineyard that I went to. I fell in love with English wine talking to Ben. And Joe says she loves Alex Brogan. Met him at the South London Wine Fair a couple of years ago. Fantastic. Oh, I should probably hide the answers, shouldn't I? Oh, yeah, I should hide the answers completely because otherwise everyone's going to know what everyone else is voting. I mean, I think they probably might have got a decent call on this one anyway, but let's hide it. So, has the time finished? It must have finished. Yes. Okay, so we shall reveal the answer. And
it's the steep
River Valley slopes. Steep River Valley slopes. Correct. To those who got it correct, and wrong if you got it wrong. But don't worry, it was still, you said valley, so you're doing the right thing. So
okay, so that puts I'll do this because you've hit it. That puts Daria at the oh, it's fine. Daria at the top of the leaderboard. Diane Andy second, just a couple of seconds in it. Moving swiftly on.
Okay, so what is Germany's name for Pinot Noir? And this is Pinot Noir normal, not Pinot Noir Précoce, the early one. Is it Weißburgunder, Grauburgunder, Spätburgunder, or Dornfelder?
And also remember, you get points for being
quick as well as right, but you get no points for being quick and wrong.
No points.
No points in quick and wrong. So yeah,
slow and steady may win the race if everyone else is an idiot.
Everyone else gets it all wrong.
So there's some calls for Weiss, some calls for Grant. No one thinks it's a Dornfelder, but the majority think it is Spätburgunder.
And they are correct. There we go. So Daria stays in the lead. Chris and Sally
second in it,
storming into it, only just behind. So this is a very tight one. So we shall move on to the next question, which is, what does GG stand for on a premium German wine label? Is it German?
I never put is someone at the horse races.
That's true. So Grosses Gewächs or German Gold. Or I'm going to add another potential answer. Is it great grandma? Because that's what we call great grandma in our household. So
well, it's obviously not because it's not in the answers.
Obviously not. It's not on the answers. Well, there we go. So the time is up, and we have got, for the first time I think ever, a 100% response on Grosser Gewächs, which is fairly astonishing.
I don't think anyone's ever had 100% response on Grosser Gewächs ever. No, so there we are. There we go. Happy German times.
It is correct.
It's not the grand great.
Chris and Sally was popping into the lead there with lightning
on the same seconds.
Very good indeed. All right. So which of these is not a German wine region? Franken, Pfalz, Kamptal, or Baden? Good question. So good question. Let's see how these answers are evolving. Don't get that apparently. Where's the answers gone? That's strange.
I don't know. You're just clicking loads of buttons.
Oh,
It's 85,888. No one thinks it's bad. That's a good one.
That is a good one. Indeed. It is out of, given that the three of the others have been in the tasting tonight, it's perhaps unsurprising that Campbell, which is because it is a wine region.
I don't know. Bonus points. Put it in the chat.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Well, no bonus points. Just see if anyone knows.
Campbell
Campbell as well in the chat.
Somewhere else. It is still a wine region, though. So you're not silly. So
Chris and Sally, high speed.
Super high speed.
With 2 questions to go.
Still very close indeed. So what is a Bocksbeutel? Is it a German wine glass, a traditional round wine bottle, a vineyard classification?
I think actually for this quiz, for once in my life,
We
I've
might
actually
have covered all
discussed
of them.
everything. Discussed everything. That's very good of me, isn't it?
It's generous. It's generous. I mean, there is a clue in the name for the German speakers, I guess, but wow, 92% are going with a traditional round wine bottle.
But the question is, was it Chris and Sally?
Oh, let's find out. So yes, it was the correct answer.
It was.
Oh, but Daria's coming back.
2 seconds, Daria.
2 seconds. And
The question is,
1 second.
is Daria even going to read the question or just press a button to see if there's fastest? That's what's important here.
Okay, so I'm going to hide that again. And the next question is coming up. Why do German Rieslings often have naturally high acidity? Is it because they are aged in oak? Or is it because Germany has a cool climate with slow ripening?
Or is it option 4?
Is it sugar is added during fermentation, or is it option?
I'll give you a clue. It's not option 4. Option 4 is not the winner.
Got it.
Can I?
Is it because it comes from the island of Santorini?
100% of people have picked option 4. No one went for option 4. It was the trick question. It's
our level of professionalism that shines through, as always.
Right, 85%. There's been some smart people.
There's been a lot wrong people. No. My
2
God.
seconds in it.
2 seconds in it.
Chris and Sally, send me a note with someone who you'd like to send another tasting pack to, and we will send them a tasting pack for our Wines of Ukraine to get them involved with the club.
Board is never an option around here. It's just a question of how distracted we get with anything else. But there we are.
So prices, everything kind of is around the £20 mark. If you should be able to scan on the back of your brochure, and it's got our entire German wine catalogue there, so you can look at what we've got for tonight. Excuse me, what we've got for tonight and what we've got for. Oh my word, I messed that up, haven't I? Have I got an extra wine in there? Or
I don't know if you've got an extra wine in there.
For wines of the night. Wines of the night. The Racine Rouge still seems to be in there.
The Racine Rouge is definitely in there. They can't find it.
So don't vote.
That's wine of the night. Okay, no, it's fine. The Racine Rouge is the Schneitmann, isn't it?
Yes. Change it now. What we can do is we can change this live to make it IMANN. Done it live. Look at that live.
Look at that. Well, I didn't put the number in, but okay. So yes, people are rating their wines 1 to 6. Remember, you can put them in your order of preference, and it doesn't really matter who wins.
So yeah, but
every wine's a winner.
But just to add to my last thing, while we're doing this little last bit wine of the night thing, is there'll be an email coming out before the end of the week for our Christmas in July email, because I think a lot of you out there have already bought our 24 days around the world advent calendar, which we're really excited about. 24Y is going to be brilliant again. We are, for the first time ever, we are having a set of port wine Christmas crackers, which are going to be on the website. Me and Alex are writing the jokes for them, so don't worry about the quality of the wine, worry about the jokes. That's what I would be, and who you're invited to Christmas. So they are going to be up and running this week on a pre-sale price. You'll be able to get them all the way through till Christmas.
They might actually be already up if you take a sneaky look. So. But yes, a sneaky look in the gifting section. But we've also got some other things we're putting up, and we can always, if you work for a company, you happen to be super high up and fascinated about what you could possibly give to your most prized customers, just give us a shout, because we can maybe give you a bottle in a pretty box, or we can give you a super cool experience.
Or what you like to send us for Christmas.
Yeah,
we'll let you know. We'll take it off the shelf. But the last thing, we are very much,
oh my god, it's tight.
we are very much in the world that on the shirt it says the Online Wine Tasting Club, but we very much do like to get out in person. So if you want us to come to your work, to your office, to your home, to whatever, to do a wine tasting or just to hang out, but to do a wine tasting, we're doing lots and lots of these. We've got access to absolutely brilliant wines, and we can do everything from absolutely, and you wouldn't believe that I can actually do a highbrow wine tasting, but I very much can, and down to very kind of like casual and informal kind of get together. So if you want to book us in for a holiday tasting, give us a shout. Let's have a look at the
fantastic. So it is super tight. I think there are
half a vote in it.
Basically half a vote in it. But it is it's an absolute toss up between 4 of the wines, isn't it? But there was actually, out of those 4 ones, the one nipped ahead, and I think it's very deserving, but it couldn't be anything else. It's
the Donhoff Riesling.
It had to be the Riesling.
Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure. And for those of you who've been with us for a little while, we're going back in the day. We've not recorded anything new, but nothing new. Everything's a remix. Everything's a remake these days. There's no original music. So here's some old school music. Have a great night. Thank you.
See you next time.
It must be Riesling that is king of the castle. There must be a reason why it lights up Jamie's soul. From Deutschland where it is made in a castle. The Germans really make the finest examples of you. Must be the Riesling that is king of the castle. From dry to uber sweet, this great makes them all. Find it in Australia or even California. But Germans truly make the finest examples of you. It must be Riesling that is king of the castle. There must be a reason why it lights up Jamie's soul. From Deutschland where it is made in a castle. The Germans really make the finest examples of you. Must be the Riesling that is king of the castle. From dry to uber sweet, this great makes them all. Find it in Australia or even California. But Germans truly make the finest examples of you.